Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Prespective. As the Prime Minister said, peace in Middle East cannot be achieved without the resolution of the Israeli-Palestine dispute. And yet the world continues to see the Palestinians suffer every day. The relevant UN Security Council resolution has yet to be implemented, even though there has been hue and cry about it, and the Kashmiris and the Palestinians continue to suffer every day, and the world watches. Why has the international community failed till date to do anything about it? Why has the international community failed to demonstrate the kind of empathy that should have been seen by the world, that should have been seen around the world, that should have made an impact on the Indian forces, on the Israeli forces? Let's talk about that today. I have with me today Javed Siddique Saab, who is a senior journalist. Thank you for giving us your time. Abdullah Gilani Saab, analyst. Thank you for being with us. And Abdullah Gul Saab, who is a defense analyst. Thank you for joining us today. Javed Saab, to start off with you, like I said, there is continuous suffering that is being exhibited every day by the world. And yet, there doesn't seem to be enough of empathy, there doesn't seem to be enough of a response by the international community. Why do you think?
I think the international community has no will to resolve these two issues. The most important issues, both Palestine and Kashmir, 70-year-old, United Nations has passed resolutions to resolve these both these problems of Palestine and Kashmir, but nothing has been done. None of these resolutions has been implemented by the United Nations Security Council. There are resolutions which were passed in 1948, and subsequently there were resolutions on Palestine, resolution on Kashmir. They still remain unimplemented. That's a tragedy. And the big powers, particularly the United States of America and the UK, France, and other big powers, Russia, they did not play their role to resolve these two explosive problems. Both the issue of Palestine and Kashmir, they're very explosive. And because these issues remain unresolved, the peace in Middle East and peace in South Asia has remained an elusive dream for the world. So therefore, I think it is very important that major powers who were responsible for passing these resolutions on Kashmir and Palestine, they should express their willingness, they should express their resolve, and they must implement these relevant resolutions about the issue of Palestine and Kashmir. In the context of the Palestinian issue, a two-state solution was also suggested back about 20 years back, 15 years back, but that solution has not been implemented. Nothing has been done. King Abdullah put forward another very important...
I want to come back and talk about the two-state solution and why it didn't work. Gilani Saab, in your opinion, like Javed Saab said, the peace in both the regions has remained an elusive dream. And yet, like I said, the world powers, when we talk about America, we talk about Russia, with great power comes great responsibility, yet they fail to act. In your opinion, why is that so? Because of their own interests? Why that is the reason why they haven't done as much as they should have in their capacity, in their role as the world powers?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Farooq, as Javed Saab has mentioned, the Kashmir and the Palestine, these remain the oldest unresolved issues. And the origin of both dates back almost to the same period in late 1940s. You see, India and Palestine, they both are illegally occupied, and the occupiers are now the closest of friends, and they share the anti-Muslim sentiment and use those anti-Muslim sentiments as policy instrument.
Right.
They view Pakistan as the common enemy and enjoy the patronage of the same master, that is US, because US supplies them arms. US supplies arms to both of them, and India now is the largest buyer of the arms from the US. So that is the matter in fact, because that fully explains us why US looks other way when it comes to the both of occupiers. They indulge in systematic grave human rights violations in the territories under their occupation. That's why Javed Saab has mentioned that international community has lost the will in fact, because they have the interest there. They sell their arms to them. How can they do, how can they show the will to resolve these issues? Because they are in fact, in other way, they are supporting them. The Israel and let me tell you one more thing. You see, the presidency, Trump presidency is shot in arms that for both of them, and both have celebrated it.
Right. Abdullah Saab, in your opinion, Abdullah Gul Saab, in your opinion, is America, is the US the root of the problem, like Abdullah Gilani Saab is saying?
Well, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, thank you very much. I see things, from a different perspective. Yes, to an extent, due to the strategic partnership between Israel and United States, Israel has been encouraged to go for the expansionist policy, for the aggressive policy, especially regarding to Palestine issue. And 226 United Nations Security Council, they have passed the resolutions, 226 from March 1948 till December 2016. And what is the outcome of it? And then are they still following the Negroponte doctrine? So now the situation is getting out of the control. There are terrorist elements who are getting engaged into the conflict, and they are trying to engage all the other areas except Israel. So this means that there is a connection between the ISIS and the Western imperial powers, because their drones can't see their long convoys of 7 kilometers, widespread on 7 kilometers. They are being funded from where? So these are some questions which the world wants to ask, because now the world is global village. As far as the Kashmir issue is concerned, it was India who took the case to United Nations. It was not Pakistan. And since then, they have been violating. If they say that it is an integral part of India, then why among all other states of India, they have been allowed to have their own flag, number one. Number two, then they do not come under the Constitution of India, but Article 370 is being there. Then they do not, the world's largest democracy, so-called democracy, is unwilling to give the right of vote for the self-determination of the Kashmir, for the Kashmiri people. So, and then the world's most militarized zone, where the ratio is 1:4, one military personnel to 4 civilians. Then what are they afraid of? And still, they want freedom. And according to the United Nations resolution, that is the reason, they have been always talking about that Kashmiri movement should be declared as a terrorist movement, which is against United Nations, charter. According to Charter 4A, it is clearly said that those nations who lift weapons for their self-determination and for their freedom, they are known as freedom fighters, not terrorists. So they were never able to declare Pakistan a terrorist. But now they have, gone through the other side. And now they are putting pressure. The recent, there is a conflict actually. There is a contradiction between what Donald Trump, President of the United States, is saying and what he is acting. recently 68 defense pacts were, the agreements were signed with India. And on the other side, Donald Trump is saying that we are going to give boost to our industry for a better economy. Now, if the only, the thing they were producing was the military armament. Now, if they have sublet it to India,
Right.
then how come their economy is going to be, getting better? So there is a very, very strong, then there are sayings of Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founder of Pakistan, about Palestinian issue, about Kashmiri issue, that we are willing to fight a 1,000-year war with India on Kashmir for, and unless or until, they throw us in the Arabian Sea.
Right.
And for Palestine, when they wanted that Pakistan should recognize them, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah used very strong words. I can't say those, but let me, that he said that it is an illegitimate child of the West, or, about Israel. And Pakistan, each and every child will fight with the state of Israel.
Right.
So these are the, and then now, why among all of the Muslim world, after Jummah prayers, they say, oh, come Pakistan, come save us. And now, because I met President Mahmoud Abbas when he visited, I had a one-to-one meeting with him. Also, I was at the inaugural ceremony. It's a beautiful thing Pakistan has done. They have gifted a beautiful embassy, which shows the sympathy and which shows the brotherly relationship. And this has encouraged the Palestinian a lot.
Right.
And now, but on the other side, Kashmiri nation is on the rise, they are on the boil, but we have to take, I think, some more concrete measures. Something extra should be done. Our foreign policy is going in a right direction, but it needs to be strengthened. It should come out of the, political influence. It should be a very straightforward policy, which should be only focusing towards Kashmir. There is no doubt about it that people criticize government for its policies for Kashmir and for others. But this is a fact that past 9 months, only, whatever is coming into the media is the briefings of the Foreign Office.
Right.
So people get, extractions from the Foreign Office.
Right.
So I think, but a little more to
Needs
be,
to be done,
done over here.
Javed Saab, earlier we were talking about the two-state solution. Why has that consistently, it's not been viable? Why, in your opinion?
I think two-state solution to the Palestinian problem
Right.
was put forward by the major powers again, the United States, the European Union, and other stakeholders in that dispute.
Right.
But unfortunately, because of intransigence of Netanyahu and the Israeli leadership, this two-state solution has not been implemented. And consistently, after agreeing to this two-state solution to the Palestinian issue, the Israeli leadership has been backtracking. That's one reason. And the other thing is that since the two-state solution emerged with consensus of major powers and the Middle Eastern countries, the Arab countries, they agreed to it. There has been a story of broken promises. The illegal settlements that Israeli is creating
Right.
on the land of Palestinians for the last many decades, they have accelerated the pace of creating these illegal settlements on the Palestinian lands, which has been grabbed
Right.
illegally, unlawfully by Israelis. So therefore, it is because of Israel's policy. And another reason is that, unfortunately, ever since the beginning of the Arab Spring, the situation in the Middle East has become very volatile,
Right.
very unstable. And Israel is actually making use of it. They are exploiting this situation. They are taking advantage of it because all neighboring countries, Syria, Egypt, and other countries, even Libya, Yemen crisis in Iraq, and other conflicts that have surfaced in the last few years,
Right.
they have encouraged and emboldened Israel basically to deny this two-state solution to the issue of Palestine.
Right.
So unless the Arab world and the Islamic world as a whole, they are united, they put their act together, I think Israel will continue to do that. The major powers which were guarantor and which agreed to this two-state solution, and they said that this is the only viable solution to the issue of Palestine, they also backtracked and they went back on their promises and they didn't carry out those promises. Therefore, I think this is the basic reason. And the Israelis, particularly this Netanyahu government, has basically defied all solutions to Palestinian issue. This Netanyahu administration, when he was previously the Prime Minister of Israel, it also rejected the formula which was put forward, the solution which was put forward by late King Abdullah, very viable solution. They said this said that we will recognize Israel as an independent state if it vacates the lands which were occupied by Israel during the 67 and 73 wars, and then also land for peace solution. And a couple of other things which were put forward by late King Abdullah. They accepted it in principle, but then they backtracked. So therefore, I think it's very important. I believe that unless US and other major powers of the world put full pressure on the Israeli leadership to come to terms with the Arab world, with their neighbors, and solve this issue, until that time, I think this intransigence and stubbornness of Israeli leadership will persist, it will continue.
Right.
And as long as this attitude, this policy continues, there is no chance or there is no prospect of a peaceful solution or a two-state solution or any other solution.
Right. Gilani Sahab, in your opinion, like Javed Sahab is saying that, it is unless America or unless, the world, the world leaders put their force behind this issue as far as Palestine is concerned, as far as Kashmir is concerned, there's no hope that this will be, there will be a resolution to these both issues. It is a large chunk of the Muslims who are suffering in both states. In your opinion, do you think it's likely that they will ever put that pressure on
That's why I was saying before, you see, the India and Israel,
right,
they are cooperating to each other in many fields,
right,
like, including the defense and the economics. And they aptly, call themselves as the natural allies.
right,
And let me mention here that it is the testing time for Pakistan, and there would be a tremendous pressure on Kashmir, and the demands for action against the people, against the groups who are working for the Kashmir cause. And I think the pressure is already apparent with Pakistan responding, with some new reactions,
right,
we have seen at home. So this time, at this juncture, recently we have seen a bloodiest intifada in Kashmir that have lasted for more than 6 months,
right,
and left 20,000 people paralyzed for the whole of their life, and
right,
more than 1,500 children, they have lost their eyesight for the lifetime, and more than 100 boys, they were brutally killed on the streets of Kashmir.
right.
At this time, if we surrender, especially where the Pakistani interests vis-a-vis India are concerned, if we surrender, let me tell you that it would be disastrous, and there would be no end to them, because the enemy would keep, gunning you for more. And especially in case of Kashmir, if there is concession on Kashmir, it will be suicidal.
But
because the Kashmir,
just to further add to that, consistently Pakistan has not backed down as far as Kashmir is concerned. We have always, through our successive governments, our policy as far as Kashmir is concerned has always been consistent, don't you think?
we have no fears about that. I'm
Right.
just alerting you. I'm just alerting the people of Pakistan that if
Right.
there is any concession over the Kashmir at this moment, it will be definitely a suicidal, because we will in that case we will lose Kashmir forever, and the Kashmiris will lose faith in Pakistan forever. That is what our enemies want us to go through from. And let me tell you one more thing, that I think this is the best time to convince the US and the other powers that the militancy and extremism is not going to end in this region until and unless the Kashmir issue is resolved, because the continuity of the conflict and the gross human rights violations, brutalities from the brute forces, trigger-happy Indian forces, it provide fodder and fuel to the these sentiments.
Right.
And this is the time that Pakistan should put more pressure on the international community for the third party intervention, because in the history we have seen 6 decades are witness to the fact that the bilateralism has not yielded any result until now.
Right, right. Abdullah Gul Sahab, we had the Prime Minister making his UN speech, the UN address that's historic, that he mentioned Kashmir, he took a stand on Kashmir. Then he had the envoys, go to different parts of the world to further the Kashmiri cause, to talk about Kashmir, to put it more, so much in the minds of the people that count. In your opinion, like Gilani Sahab is saying that, we are at a point where we might, be able to make a difference. Do you think that there is a chance that, the plight of the Kashmiris will be heard, considering the fact that, their hue and cry is now, we've seen, like he said, 6-month period where the atrocities were shown all over the world, and, the world can't continue to shy away from it. Do you think that's true?
As far as the Kashmiri nation is concerned, I think there is no doubt. There should be no doubt that now they are wrapping their beloved ones and putting them in the grave with Pakistani flag. So this is, this is a vote from the people of Kashmir for Pakistan.
Right.
So there is no doubt about it.
Right.
The second thing is that, yes, I think that this golden opportunity, which we had earlier when the Russians were defeated in our neighborhood, and now Americans, they have also been defeated on the battlefield. And now they are about to leave that region. They have to, because, they cannot sustain peace over there with this much force, with 10,000 or 11,000 troops. It's not possible.
Right.
So now it is important that this opportunity will probably not come in another 200 years' time, where a superpower is being defeated in your neighborhood. And I think the policy should be very clear, that the road to Kabul leads via Srinagar. So we have to settle down things like that, and I think the government is on that page, on page. But at the same time, as far as the Kashmiri nation expectations are concerned, now they want something extra, not just the political and democratic and diplomatic front, but they want some more help, because the youngsters, they have different desires, and they have different thinking of their own.
Right.
So I think something extra should be done, and that should be that Pakistan should focus on the social media, and because the world is not interested either solving the Palestinian issue or the Kashmiri issue. It is not that they can't. It is that they do not want to, like Javed Saab and Gilani Saab mentioned.
Right.
Now the situation is that we have to tell the world, because the social media can create a lot of difference, and we have to show the true picture of India, not the Bollywood culture which is being portrayed all over the world, but a true picture. People like Arundhati Roy, what she has written, that should be highlighted to the people. There are other voices being raised, and it is not just the Kashmiri nation who is suffering, by the way. There are other nationals who are being suffered, who suffered a lot, like 200 families of Christians. They were forcefully converted into Hindus just last year. And their MNA is on record when he said that in 2021 there will be no other national or no other religion other than Hindus in India. Now the other thing is that look at their Rashtriya Sevak Sangh and the Sangh Parivar and the BJP itself.
Right.
What a and then Mr. Modi himself, the butcher of Gujarat, this is, and who refused to give the visa? It was United States.
Right, right.
So
but
we have to ask.
Considerably changed.
We have to ask United States that what made you lift those sanctions which were put earlier on Narendra Modi. So what difference he has made?
Right.
So the people who killed Gandhi are being worshipped in India. Nathuram Godse is there. Now his statues are all over.
Right.
Now Gandhi's statues are being removed from there.
Right.
So this is what India, and look, and then have we forgotten about what they have done to Nepal, the royal family? They killed, Raw played a role over there. Kulbhushan Yadav, who has been doing a subversion activity in Pakistan after Second World War. This is the first case after Second World War where a lieutenant colonel rank level is being involved in subversive activities, terrorist activities inside in another country.
Right.
So this is the picture of India. Now if you come to Palestine, we have to understand that in 1917 when Arthur Balfour, he at that time he was Foreign Secretary of Britain government, and he got this all messed up, and then it carried on. Then the world leagues of the world, they joined in hands. The world is interested only in Eastern Timor. They are interested in Sudan splitting into two, but they are not interested in getting this resolved, because they want that there should be a conflict in the heart of the Muslim world, and in this region with Kashmir, so that they should buy their arms, ammunitions, and they should be in conflict with each other. The third world countries which are being blessed with the natural resources, with the human resources, they should not come, and they should not counter their economy. And then of course China's factor can't be ignored at all. Now they want that Americans should interfere in this region, and they should stay here in the name of UN observers. They should come into Kashmir, so that they should give trouble to the Aksai Chin area of China, and also the Xinjiang province, which is already being declared as a troubled area as far as the Chinese are concerned. So we have to focus on this also, that what world wants. Now the Western policy is very much clear to not just the Muslim world, but all the deprived countries of the world. We know the only solution to all this issue is that we have to unite. United we rise, and divided we fall.
Right.
So unless or until we unite and we become one force, I tell you, in Arab world, if everybody is united, then what is the position of Israel? Then we have to see that how Daesh is moving in this region. What are their motives? What are their heinous designs? And for what? This means that they want that the energies should be turned with each other. They should,
there should be
have, and there should be a division, and that is how they, they go forward with it.
Right, Javed Saab, in your opinion, the fact that whatever the world wants, they want us to be divided or whatever. As far as Islamic world is concerned themselves, do you think they've played enough role? Do you think, what about the OIC? Do you think that they have done enough to raise the issue? Do you think that they have been, as effective as they could have been, considering the fact that we do have we have our own level playing field?
I think the OIC has not lived up to the expectations of the Islamic world. And it is being said, it is being articulated at various levels and various forums that OIC should be more effective. They should be playing a very efficacious role as far as the issues of the Islamic world are concerned. It's very unfortunate people are actually commenting very sarcastically on OIC. You know, they say, "Oh, I see,"
Right.
you know, that kind of thing. So it's very sad. And the Islamic world, unfortunately, is torn by internal dissensions,
Right.
internal differences, and we don't see any towering leadership in the Islamic world, which should play its role to bring
Right.
these countries together, to bring their act together,
Right.
so that they are united and they are able to put pressure on those powers who matter,
Right.
and those powers can play their role in the resolution of the crisis that is afflicting the Islamic world in the Middle East and in South Asia in the shape of Kashmir issue. So therefore, I think a lot needs to be done. A lot of steps have to be taken. Secondly, I think the Islamic world is not playing its cards very efficaciously and effectively.
Right.
They have a lot of resources, almost 1.4 billion Muslims. They have a huge, massive manpower. They have their resources. They can play a very important role. They can actually deploy and employ diplomatic tools to put pressure on the Western countries, specifically on the United States of America, the Western powers,
Right.
China, so that they come forward and play their role in the resolution of these problems. As far as Israel is concerned, I think United States of America is not very sincere and is not very clear in the resolution of the Palestinian issue. You know, a lot of solutions have been put forward, a lot of suggestions have been put forward,
Right.
a lot of formulas have been discussed, put on the table, but nothing has worked. A lot of special envoys were appointed by the United States of America, by European Union and other countries to find a solution to this problem, but nothing has happened because primarily the United States of America is not playing its due role, which it should play. One of the primary reasons is that the Jewish lobby in the United States is very strong, and during the current presidential campaign,
Right.
the Jewish lobby is reportedly, it has played a very important role, very significant role in catapulting Mr. Donald Trump to the presidency in the White House. So therefore, I think the influence of the Jews is very widespread, very big, very massive, and it produces consequences and results which are desired by Israel. And
So we need to be strong economically. to deal
economically
with-
also, and we should play our diplomatic cards very intelligently and smartly. That's very important. And we need to be together.
How do you think we can be more active as far as our diplomatic or in the diplomatic affair, like you're saying?
I think the Islamic world, as I said, that as far as the manpower is concerned, as far as their resources are concerned, as far as their diplomatic relations are concerned, as far as the oil as a weapon, it has been used in the past very effectively. And there are other measures which the Islamic world can take.
Unity is definitely one of
Unity
them.
is the key factor. But other measures, they have diplomatic relations with every country, and all major countries have their stake, have their interest in the Islamic world. Most of these Islamic countries that I have mentioned, Saudi Arabia and Gulf countries, they are the biggest oil producers, and they have a strategic location as well. So therefore, I think they can't be taken very lightly by United States of
So
America.
it's not
and
only the
Western powers.
West, or it's not only the leaders of the world, so to speak, who are not playing their role, but it's also the Islamic world. who are not
Islamic
doing this
world
much
is
especially.
also not actually playing its role
Right.
to basically put pressure on the major powers of the world, and also they are not lobbying very effectively,
Right.
so that the world opinion is changed,
Right.
and they could influence the outcome of the thinking of the world. That's
Right.
very important.
Gilani Saab, earlier we were talking about the role of social media and how Pakistan should be more active as far as, our propaganda against the atrocities committed in Kashmir, against the Muslim world is concerned through social media, for example. But the death of Burhan Wani and after that, the movement that started in Kashmir, that was very active. The role that social media played in that wasn't seen before. So it was the first time that, that level of atrocities at that level were communicated to the world on social media, for example. Do you think that has changed anything?
Actually, in Kashmir, the international media is banned.
Right.
India do not allow international media to come into the valley to
Right.
see the situation
Right.
there. And whatever,
But for example, from Pakistan,
whenever anything happens there in Kashmir, the
Right.
first thing India they cut off all the connections, the internet connections, the mobile cellular connections everywhere. But whenever there is some possibility of getting through the connection, and the Kashmiri youths, they use that in a meticulous way, and they send those pictures and those atrocity videos, they send it here in Pakistan, and thanks to the Pakistani youth,
Right.
they played a vital role in spreading all those material to the world.
But the Kashmiri diaspora across the world, they have also played a very important role in
Right.
putting their message across.
Exactly, that's also there. That's also there, and I would finally tell one thing here that
Right.
seeing this all happening around the world now, that I think the only solution in terms with reference to Kashmir would be that we should stick to our principal position on Kashmir
Right.
and resist every pressure that may come on us on the issue of Kashmir.
Right. But as far as the social media aspect of the, positive propaganda is concerned, and India, for example, has, consistently tried to use that as a tool to tell the world their story.
Not just social media.
Right.
The over 300-400 private channels in India.
Right.
They were also propagating against Kashmir, and they did not even bother to shy away from it. They were under pressure from the government that this is the national issue, that you have to propagate it in that way,
Right.
in whatever way is in the interest of India.
Right.
But let me tell you one more thing here, that social media has exactly played the vital role in this current uprising.
Right.
And we believe that the onus is now on the people of Pakistan and the youth of Pakistan, because as I said before, India does the first step there is they cut all the internal connections, the internet connections, the wireless connections, though Kashmiris are not always able to do it through the social media.
Right.
And somehow we managed to get some information from Kashmir, and then we spread it here. The onus then lies over the youth of Pakistan, and they have done previously well job. And we hope in future, inshallah, they'll be doing the same job.
Right, inshallah. Abdullah Gul Sahab, when we talk about lack of leadership in the Islamic world, do you think things are likely to change in the future? Do you think that we see an emerging leadership in the Islamic world, for example, a particular region in your opinion, or a particular leader in your opinion, that may change things for people like the Palestinians, people like the Kashmiris, and may unite the Islamic world against the, if not against, then at least voice their concerns to that level where we may be heard, in your opinion?
You have asked a beautiful question, I believe that yes, there is likely to be a change very soon coming because of the policies of Mr. Trump, which are very vindictive, which are against the Muslim world, especially, and people who were thinking, he has mostly done whatever he used to say in his election campaigns,
Right.
except what he said about Afghanistan. So he changed his policy over there. So now this is a area where I see a ray of hope. That yes, in the recent, in future, I see there has to be, because the Muslim world is suffering most. They have to understand that they have to revert back to the Muslim unity. OIC should become OIC,
Right.
not OIC, but
Right.
OIC, then I can do it.
Right.
So we have the power, we have the economic power, we have the military might as well. But all we have to do that we have to say goodbye to the Western hegemonic policies. Selectively and respectfully, we have to start saying, we have to start saying no to the Western imperial powers, because the nation, all the Muslim nation, they
Right.
think differently, and the leaders, they have certain compulsions.
Right.
So now, because of the administrative problems,
Right.
now as far as Palestinian issue is concerned, like I said, or the Kashmiri issue is concerned, social media is a very important tool. It must not be, it should not go waste like this.
Right.
We have to bring in the youth in it with the better ideas, with the more advanced ideas. Then of course, Pakistan television should start up with some educational programs on Kashmir, where you educate the young generation of Pakistan, because tomorrow's, they are going to be the prime minister, they are going to be the military men, they are going to be the doctors, engineers, and the businessmen. So they need to be educated that what the Kashmir issue is. So they have to be highlighted about it. So
But granted,
one.
Abdullah Sahab, that we should do that. Of course, that's a positive step. But don't you think, in your opinion, every child who grows up in Pakistan grows up with the Kashmir issue?
I totally agree. He grows up with that Kashmir issue. There is no doubt about it.
Right.
But he does not know the basics of it. This is what I am talking.
Right.
So that they should know what is the basic issue of Kashmir and how it started and how it has to end. Of
Right.
course, it has to end in the favor of Pakistan. There is no doubt about it.
Right.
Pakistan has a true, not only just we have the faith, but we also, whatever the, we developed nuclear only for India. And that was again for Kashmir cause. We fought 3 wars. And then a water war is coming for you. If India is not going to behave, according to the Indus Water Treaty, then Pakistan has no other choice to fight a war with India, to go into, which is not, to be done.
Right.
But
That's not the
this
best
is what they have, forced us. They are leading towards, the roads are leading towards an aqua bomb, which they have dropped on Pakistan, is not acceptable. But at the last, like the Arab-Israel conflict, there was once. And then what happened then? Now the Arab conflict has started,
Right.
which is a bad sign. Now it should, like from 67 onwards till 89, it was Arab and Israel conflict. And the Human Rights Council of United Nations Human Rights Council, which was established in 2006, in 2013, they condemned Israel against the human rights violation in Palestine and the region. 49.9%, half of the entire world, Israel was condemned on it. But why the Muslim world kept quiet? Now this is the answer.
Right.
So we have to, like everybody said, unity, and unity.
Right.
And we have that strength. There is no
Right.
doubt about it.
Right.
And then we should adopt a 3D policy, which is defiance, deterrence, and dialogue.
Right.
Defy on the basis of your deterrence. Alhamdulillah, Pakistan has the deterrence.
Right.
And on that basis, we should have an equal dialogue. World should be told that this is not a conflict between the 2 countries or the 2 nuclear countries. It is a international conflict. It is one of the oldest conflicts of this region.
Right.
So they have to be educated on this, like the Prime Minister sent 22 different envoys to different
Right.
countries to educate people on Kashmir. It is a good initiative. We must take more initiative. We must involve the Pakistani expats who are living abroad. They should be they should be taken into confidence, and they should plead the case of Pakistan. So this is how I think we move in, we have to move in multiple directions as far as the Kashmir issue is concerned, and of course Palestinian issue is also the equally important,
Right.
because that is what the policy of Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and we must not deviate from
Right.
those policies.
Right. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have. Thank you for joining me today. Javed Saab, Abdullah Gilani Saab, Abdullah Gul Saab, thank you for giving me your time. As far as Kashmir is concerned, as far as Palestine is concerned, it's a fact that the world watches as the Muslim community continues to suffer. What more can we do? The Muslim community can unite. The Muslim community can play a more effective role as far as their role as the OIC is concerned, as far as their role as the Muslim leaders of the community is concerned. Let's unite and let's all participate towards an effective resolution to both the Kashmiris and to the Palestinian cause. Thank you so much for joining me today on Prespective.